The day my water broke, my husband was having a breakup hookup with my best friend. This led to massive postpartum hemorrhaging, and my baby died without me even getting to see it. My husband inherited my billion-dollar fortune and married my best friend. This simp died just in time. Now I can do whatever I want. I opened my eyes and found myself back in my freshman year. Lucien sipped his fine wine and teased me. "Why are you just standing there like an idiot? Hurry up and pay the bill." I went crazy on the spot, aiming for his crotch. I kicked with a swift leg movement. "Pay your damn money." The last memory of my past life. It was me lying on the hospital bed, barely breathing after giving birth. My husband, Lucien, stood by my bed, mocking me. "You really know how to pick your moments, you simp. Even my last hurrah with Reborn before we broke up had to be ruined by your nonsense. What bad luck." I couldn't believe my eyes as I stared at Lucien, wanting to curse at him and hit him, but I couldn't muster even a shred of strength. "Don't look at me like that. To be honest, the person I've truly loved all along has always been Reborn. If it weren't for your constant pressure, I wouldn't have had to break up with her. But now, it's all good. You're about to die, which means not only can I inherit your assets, but I can also marry Reborn openly. After all, your best friend is much smoother than you." I was filled with extreme hatred. So I endured the excruciating pain and, with a strong will, grabbed the fruit knife from the cabinet and stabbed Lucien in the groin. "Lucien, you bastard, let's go to hell together." I opened my eyes again. The gradually clearing scene made me pause for a moment. It wasn't until I saw Lucien, still young and inexperienced, not far away. He was wearing a bespoke shirt, sipping fine red wine while enjoying a filet mignon. Lucien glanced at me and said, "If you had come any later, I wouldn't have given you a second chance." I suddenly realized, it was this day, the beginning of my past life being labeled a simp, the day Lucien agreed to date me. Seeing me standing there in a daze, Lucien sneered, "What are you standing there like an idiot for? Hurry up and pay." Old grudges and new hatreds surged up in my heart. I rushed over, grabbed his collar, and slapped him across the face. Then, I grabbed his hair and slammed his head hard onto the dining table. I pressed his face into the unfinished steak and ground it in forcefully. "Think you're some kind of young master just because you had Western food. You eat my food, wear my clothes, and now you're ordering me around. Who gave you the guts? Aren't you all about your pride? Today, I'll give you plenty of it." Lucien struggled like a madman. With one hand, he pressed down on the table, and with the other, he pushed me away forcefully. Lucien suddenly stood up, his face greasy, and shouted at me. "Lou Renan, are you crazy?" I laughed out loud to the sky. Then I charged straight at him and kicked him right in the groin. "Pay your damn money, whether it's a return to the past or an illusion after death, it doesn't matter." I completely lost it. In my past life, I died on the first day of being a mother. That day, while I was in my due date, I was handling company matters. I answered the sudden video call without thinking. What I saw was Lucien's tall and fair body, along with his heavy breathing. Shocked, I quickly checked the caller's information. It was my best friend, Chen Reborn. Chen Reborn's voice was filled with blatant provocation. I was frantic with anxiety. Just as I was about to say something, the video call ended. Then, I received a WeChat message from Chen Reborn. "Renan, I accidentally dialed the wrong number. Please don't mind." I was frantic and hurriedly asked what was going on. "Reborn, was that Lucien just now? Why were you with him?" A moment later, Chen Reborn sent another message. "Alright, since you found out, I won't pretend anymore. Lucien is indeed with me, and we slept together." "I can't believe it. That's impossible." "You're lying. Lucien loves me the most, and we have a child together. He wouldn't do that." A mocking emoji was sent over. "Lou Renan, you really are pregnant for 3 years and stupid for 3 years. Is it really true? Didn't you just see it? However, speaking of which, Lucien is really too charming. His fair skin shows veins, his 8-pack is clearly defined, and even the tattoo below his abdomen is so adorable." I just couldn't hold back and ended up meeting him face to face. My emotions suddenly became very unstable, but I still couldn't believe Lucien would betray me. I quickly dialed his number. Before long, Lucien's voice came through on the other end of the line. "Whoever's calling, what bad luck. Even the last hurrah before breaking up can't be peaceful. What are you doing with my phone? Give it back right now." The sudden female voice completely shattered me. I knew it was Chen Reborn. "Lucien, tell me honestly, who's prettier, me or Renan Lou? Once you answer, I'll give your phone back." Lucien on the other end didn't hesitate for a moment. "Of course it's you, sweetheart. What else could it be? Then why did you insist on breaking up with me? Is it really because of the child in her belly?" Lucien spat disdainfully. Who knows whose bastard child she's carrying? If it weren't for her assets, I would have kicked that simp to the curb long ago, but I really can't bear to part with you like this. Don't worry, baby, once I get the shares she holds and take the CEO position, we'll be together immediately. As for that stupid woman, Lou Runin, let her fend for herself. The sudden shock completely shattered my beliefs. I shouted and threw the documents in my hand forcefully. I scattered everything on my desk all over the floor. I slipped and fell accidentally. A sudden sharp pain in my abdomen made it impossible for me to stand up for a moment. Then, a slippery liquid started flowing out from below. It was then that I realized my water had broken. In a panic, I quickly dialed the emergency number. After giving birth, I suffered from massive hemorrhage, barely clinging to life, waiting for death, from heaven to hell. It was just a moment, coming to my senses. I calmed down a bit, watching Lucien collapse to the ground in unbearable pain. The innocent, youthful little face was covered in grease. I couldn't help but laugh out loud. It hurts, doesn't it? It's uncomfortable, right? But it's nothing compared to what I've endured. I thought of the pain after childbirth and the despair of death in my previous life, and then I kicked his face hard twice. He turned and left. At the school gate, my roommate Chin Rong was waiting for me. Where have you been? The sports meet has been going on for ages, I casually replied. Oh, I just beat up a male classmate. She turned around in shock. What? I said. Ba Jean said, when everyone thinks you're easy to bully, you need to punch back hard. Ba Jean, did he really say that? It doesn't matter. Chin Rong and I walked to the playground, where Chen Ruoyan came running towards me. Chen Ruoyan and I are not in the same class, nor the same major, nor the same department, but everyone knows she is my best friend, Lu Runin. Chen Ruoyan's gaze swept across my cheek and glanced behind me. Runin, why are you so late? By the way, weren't you going to see Lu Chen? Why didn't he come with you? In my past life, every time Lu Chen asked me for money, she would always find various reasons to encourage me to be more generous, saying it was an investment in my own judgment, appearing to be on my side. In reality, these funds ultimately became the financial means for their secret liaison. At this thought, I suddenly raised my hand and slapped her. Chin Rong was once again stunned by the sight. Chen Ruoyan's expression froze, and after standing there stunned for 2 seconds with her hand over her face, she returned to her usual self. She affectionately linked her arm with mine and rested her head on my shoulder. What's wrong, Runin? Are you not in a good mood? In my previous life, it wasn't until much later that I found out, Chen Ruoyan was bullied in middle school, but a cheerful boy protected her. He accompanied her to and from school, and took her to concerts. He was the white moonlight in her heart. This white moonlight is Lu Chen, and so, she applied to the same university as him to stay by his side. She always believed without question the words Lu Chen said about me coercing and enticing him, and she hated me deeply. However, due to her status as a stepdaughter, she had to endure and ingratiate herself with me. Because her stepfather was our family's driver, she needed to maintain a good relationship with me to secure a place in the household. At this thought, I said, let's break up. Her pupils suddenly contracted, and she paused for 2 seconds. Why, Runin? Did I do something wrong to upset you? I pulled out a handkerchief and wiped my shoulder where she had rested her head. Don't want to be best friends with the daughter of a servant. It's degrading. Is that reason enough? After leaving, Chin Rong cautiously asked me if I was possessed by a demon. It didn't surprise me at all that she would ask me that, because the previous me was so close to Chen Ruoyan that we practically shared the same pair of pants, hanging out, eating together, gossiping, sharing everything, inseparable. If she gets into an argument with someone, I will unconditionally stand up for her. My favoritism is so obvious that everyone in the world knows. But things are different now. Lu Runin of the past is dead. The one standing here now is Nuhura Runin, who has died once. Lu Chen never showed up all day. I know. The thing he's most proud of is that face of technological national rejuvenation. They wouldn't act unless it promised the greatest profit. I waited patiently. The weekend quickly arrived, marking Lu Chen's 19th birthday. He had booked the banquet hall at the Houting Hotel to host a grand celebration for his birthday. Early in the morning, I received his message. I knew it was sent specifically to make me pay. The crystal chandelier cast a soft light, and the gentle saxophone music filled the entire banquet hall. Dressed in a bespoke black gown, I slowly walked through the entrance. Across the crowd, I spotted Lu Chen in a sharp suit, greeting others. Beside him, Chen Ruoyan was being particularly affectionate. I walked over, pretending not to notice Chen Ruoyan beside him, who was avoiding eye contact. Just as he was about to say something, Lu Chen spoke up coldly. questioning first. Lu Renan, did you hit Ruoyeon before? Is this what your upbringing is like? His voice was loud, drawing the attention of all the students present. Chen Gij. I don't understand what you're saying. I glanced at Chen Ruoyeon and tilted my head. What am I? And what is she? It's not worth hitting her. Don't think you can sweep this under the rug by not admitting it. Apologize to Ruoyeon in front of everyone today, or don't expect me to talk to you again. Chen Ruoyeon came out, pretending to be sincere. Lu Ken, don't blame Renan, she didn't mean it. Don't let me affect your relationship. Seeing that I didn't react, Lu Ken suddenly became more severe. Lu and Renan, Ruoyeon is your best friend. Do you feel no guilt at all for hurting her like this? I'm telling you to kneel down and apologize right now. In the vast banquet hall, countless people cast glances of anticipation for the show. What, beating up her best friend? This Miss Lu won't even spare her closest friend. Could she have some violent tendencies? Oh, who knows? Having been pampered like a deity since childhood, it's not surprising if she has some hidden quirks. Luckily, Lu, the school hunk, stood up for justice and kept his head clear. In the face of Chen Ruoyeon's smug and challenging gaze, I straightened my back. Smiling, I let loose with some sharp words. Oh, China, what are you saying? Those who know you think you're Lu Chen, but those who don't might mistake you for some stray dog running around and biting people. By the way, there's no one in this world who can make me kneel, unless you're dead. I tilted my head, looked him up and down, and then maliciously grinned. How about this? You two draw your swords and commit suicide right now, and I'll immediately kneel down and kowtow 3 times, and even offer you 3 sticks of incense. What do you say? Lu Chen's face suddenly darkened. Chen Ruoyeon repeated her old trick and spoke up. Renan, I don't know what I did wrong to suddenly make you dislike me, but no matter what, you shouldn't speak to Lu Chen like that. Everyone knows you like Lu Chen the most. Don't let this incident ruin your relationship. I chuckled. Sorry. I don't know what you're barking about, but in my opinion, a male dog with a female dog is a perfect match. Just like the two of you, a perfect match in your stench. Chen Ruoyeon widened her eyes, tears streaming down her face, deliberately putting on an innocent and vulnerable expression. Lu Chen, seeing this, shouted at me harshly. Lu Renan, as a girl, who did you learn all that foul language from? How could you be so vicious? I pursed my lips and put on a very contrived expression, as if I was just telling the truth. And when it comes to nastiness, I'm nothing compared to the two of you. In my past life, I fell head over heels for Lu Chen at first sight. We were in the same class from the start of high school, and in my heart, he was my white moonlight. Back then, I was chasing him, always hanging around him every day. Not only did I cover his food, clothing, and expenses, but I also paid for his tuition and his mother's medical bills. If it weren't for me, he wouldn't have even been able to go to school. His family might have collapsed long ago. Yet, Lu Chen still kept a cold face all day long, as if I owed him something. I bought him an expensive birthday gift, and he said I was being ostentatious. I took him to a Michelin-starred restaurant, and he accused me of being wasteful. In the end, I, who had never done any housework, started preparing breakfast for him every day. Not only did he show no gratitude, but he also complained that it tasted bad. Back then, I was young and had never been in a relationship. I always thought he was just naturally aloof and couldn't be as gentle as other guys. It wasn't until Chen Ruoyeon appeared, that's when I realized, Lu Chen wasn't incapable of being gentle. It's just that person, not me. I've seen him hand Chen Ruoyeon hot milk on his way to school, ruffling his hair and saying, you must eat breakfast, or it's bad for your stomach. I've also seen him gently wipe away the tears from Chen Ruoyeon's cheeks when she cried, softly saying, don't be sad, I'm here. When Chen Ruoyeon would tug on his hand and act coquettishly, he would patiently listen, his eyes full of tenderness. Back then, I was such an idiot, thinking he was just a nice and kind person. I even naively tried to befriend Chen Ruoyeon to ask about his preferences. Looking back, it's so laughable. In my past life, I was trapped in a love scam, confused why Lu Chen didn't stand by me during our relationship and why he betrayed me after marriage. Only after being reborn did I suddenly realize the truth. I am a completely independent individual. It's not that I can't live without a man or love. The birthday banquet didn't last long. Everyone left early for various reasons. In the end, only I and that couple remained. Lu Chen furrowed his brow, his eyes full of resentment. Renan Lu, look at what you've done. You've ruined a perfectly good birthday party. I smiled faintly. This is all your own fault. You deserve it. Lu Chen suppressed his emotions, clearly not wanting to waste words with me. Alright, I won't argue with you. Hand it over. I was momentarily puzzled. What thing? Of course, it's the gift. You said you'd give me a black card for my birthday, huh? My head spun, and I was a bit dazed, but thinking back, in my previous life, I did go all out in love and actually gave him an unlimited black card. However, times have changed, there's definitely no black card this time, but giving him a couple of slaps sounds quite appealing. I pretended to think deeply, stroking my chin, then suddenly looked like I remembered something. Looking up, I said, so it's a black card, no. Lu Chen's hopeful eyes instantly dimmed, and his face darkened as he said, Lu Renan, what do you mean? Just as it sounds, it's my birthday, and you didn't even bother to do anything. I'm really disappointed. Listen, if you don't give me the black card today, you won't see me for a whole month. No, a whole year. I was over the moon hearing him say that. That's great. Well, a year is too short. Let's just cut ties for good. Lu Chen's expression was already unable to hide his embarrassment. At this moment, Chen Ruoyan ran out and said a bunch of things to persuade me. Runan, don't be stubborn, it's almost certain you can be with Lu Chen, don't ruin it over a black card, and with Lu Chen being so outstanding, he definitely won't mistreat you in the future, think of it as an investment. I gave a cold laugh. Since you have such high hopes for him, you give it a try, don't even think about getting a single cent from me, let alone a black card. I turned around and was about to leave. Lu Chen called out to me anxiously, Lu Renan, I won't force you to give me the black card, but you have to pay for the birthday party, don't you? It's not my birthday, why should I pay? You were the one who said you'd throw me a grand birthday party and let me choose the venue freely, otherwise, why would I have booked such an expensive place? I thought about it, it seems like there's some truth to that, but what can I do? I don't want to pay this money now, is that not allowed? Chen Ruoyan quickly grabbed my hand, putting on a pitiful expression, Runan, don't make things difficult for Lu Chen, you know his family's situation, if you don't pay for this birthday banquet, Lu Chen definitely won't be able to leave this door, and he might even get his limbs broken and end up in jail. I shook off her hand, sneering with disdain, none of my business. A few days later, I found out that Lu Chen's birthday party cost a total of 130,000 yuan. He had to borrow heavily from online loans just to barely cover the payment. Thinking about it, I feel he got off too easy. My father introduced me to someone, and he said they're from our school too. I agreed without hesitation. After all, in my social circle, it's mostly arranged marriages within families. In terms of qualifications, the other party isn't bad at all. We agreed to meet at the amusement park. He's quite good looking, very much to my taste. He was a bit nervous when we first met. Hello. I'm Xing Xiang. I didn't talk much with him, but after taking him on a few thrilling rides, we got to know each other better. I stayed in place to rest, while Xing Xiang went to get me some water. To my surprise, I turned around and ran into Lu Chen. He strode over to me, his voice full of anger. Runan Lu, you're following me. Don't think for a second that playing these tricks will make me forgive you. I gave him a disdainful glance. You're overthinking it, I'm meeting someone here. Lu Chen glanced around, then his gaze settled on my face. Do you really think I'd believe that? It's obviously because you feel guilty about what happened before, trying to seek my forgiveness, and you had to fabricate such a ridiculous lie. Don't you think it's laughable? I was momentarily stunned, then almost laughed out of anger. However, seeing his full confidence, I realized it was because I had been too good to him before. Where does he get the nerve to say something so arrogant? Please. Don't forgive me, I'm begging you. I waved him off. Nothing else, please stay away from me, I'm asking you. Chen Ruoyan, who was not far away, saw me and ran over. Runan, Lu Chen's anger has mostly subsided these past 2 days, just give in a little, and the previous incident will be over. Trust me, don't keep this up, or all your previous efforts will be wasted. She said similar things to me many times in my past life, but without exception. It was all to make me compromise and then trick me into spending money to please Lu Chen. However, later on, I also figured out what kind of people they were, spending my money while calling me a simp, eating with the bowl in hand and cursing as soon as it's set down, absolutely shameless to the extreme. Whether she's angry or not is none of my business. I glared at her. If there's nothing else, please get lost and stop being in the way. She was stunned, but then Lu Chen couldn't hold back. Lu Renan, do you know what you're saying? At that moment, an umbrella covered my head. I turned my head and saw Xing Xiang. He gently brushed the sweat-soaked hair from my forehead and softly asked, Are you hot? Are you thirsty? I was completely stunned. After all, this was our first meeting, and I never expected him to make such an intimate gesture. I didn't expect you to actually find a pretty boy. Are you doing this to spite me on purpose? Lu Chen still had that self-important demeanor. his eyes full of hostility when he looked at Xingxiang. Listen, Lu Renan chased me for 3 years in high school, she only has me in her heart. You're just someone she found to deliberately provoke me. Not even a substitute, got it, so what? At least the one standing by her side now is me, not you. Lu Chen, feeling aggrieved, gave Xingxiang's shoulder a push. I'm warning you to stay away from her, you hear me? Be careful or else. I'd had enough of Lu Chen's shamelessness and kicked him hard in the groin. Who gave you the guts to threaten someone on my side? A month later, I confirmed my relationship with Xingxiang. The news quickly reached Lu Chen's ears. He found me. Looking visibly displeased, Lu Renan, you clearly like me, so why are you with that pretty boy? Do you really enjoy flirting around that much? I gave him a disdainful look and said, don't be so full of yourself, who do you think you are, that I would even like you? You chased me for 3 whole years in high school. Do you really think I'd believe anything you say now? I know I made some mistakes before, but if you just held on a little longer, you could have had me. Why couldn't you just hold on a bit more? Here's a chance for you. If you break up with that pretty boy and give me that black card, I'll be with you. He said all this with a very smug look on his face, seemed to be sure I would agree to him. What a shameless guy, dared to compare himself to my unlimited black card. I smiled with a hint of mockery. Haven't seen anyone demand food so boldly. Classmate Lu, don't flatter yourself. Do you think I like you? Are you worthy? Lu Chen sneered. Renan Lu. No one knows you better than I do. Do you think I'll fall for this retreat to advance tactic? Alright, just give me the black card. I really need it urgently. He spoke with absolute certainty. He was convinced I was just putting on an act for him. I chased him for 3 years in high school. If it weren't for my feelings, I probably wouldn't have lasted that long. He saw me splurge on love without a second thought. He also witnessed my bold public declarations of love, as the one being loved. He always felt secure and unconcerned. Lu Chen's debts and his mother's medical expenses could no longer be delayed. The chaotic life was waiting for him to fill the gaps with money. Xingxiang pulled up nearby in the latest Maserati. He ran up to me and decisively pulled me behind him. Renan is now my girlfriend. She doesn't like you at all. Can't you see that? This statement was like a bolt from the blue, leaving Lu Chen stunned in place for a long time. He suddenly remembered something. I haven't given him money in a long time, nor have I given him a single gift. Soon, Lu Chen shook his head in disbelief. He recalled my relentless pursuit and unquestioning obedience in the past, those entangled memories, one by one, each and every one. I can't believe I suddenly stopped loving him. He angrily grabbed Xingxiang by the collar, his eyes full of rage. Pretty boy, don't try to smooth things over with me. Lu Renan loves me the most. You have no idea how much she loves me. I couldn't stand it anymore and punched him hard in the stomach. Lu Chen, I warned you not to touch him. Are you really that forgetful? He held his stomach, becoming unusually docile. Renan, I know it's because I've been getting too close to Ruoyan that you're jealous, but the debt I borrowed before, and my mother's medical expenses really can't wait. Just give me the card. I promise I won't hold any grudges about the past. I sneered. I'd rather burn my money than give you a single cent. I grabbed Xingxiang's hand and turned to leave. Lu Chen, however, panicked and grabbed me. I turned to look at him, but was momentarily stunned by his expression. His eyes pleaded, as if he were a dying man clutching at his last lifeline. His voice trembling, he said, it shouldn't be like this. It shouldn't be. Renan Lu, why aren't you giving me money anymore? Didn't you like me? I was startled by his madness, but deep down, I was secretly delighted. So he has his day too. I raised my arm with force and slapped him across the face. Without looking back, I left with Xingxiang. He stood there frozen, covering his face, unable to move. It looked utterly desolate. After leaving that day, I happily went on a date with Xingxiang. I thought I could stay away from that toxic couple and start a new life, but they were like a sticky plaster, haunting me relentlessly. A few days later, Qin Rong found me on purpose, gloating, Renan. Ever since you stopped giving money to Lu Chen, he and Chen Ruoyan have been in a terrible mess. They haven't even paid their tuition for months. I heard that Lu Chen sold all the things you gave him to pay off his online loans, which barely covered some of the debt. Last time I went out to dinner with friends, I saw Lu Chen working there. He was all over the place, got a complaint from a customer, and the boss gave him a scolding that left him looking like a dog. But the funniest part is Chen Ruoyan. The other day, I saw her trying to buy a dress at the mall for just 70 yuan, but she couldn't even scrape together enough money after trying WeChat, Alipay, and her card. It's strange that Chen Ruoyan's father, who works as your family's driver, should be in such a tight spot. I'm quite surprised to see her like this. I lowered my gaze and said with a hint of sarcasm, really? They're quite the pair of paupers, aren't they? As for Chen Ruoyan's father, I already fired him long ago. After just a few steps, I was stopped by Chen Ruoyan. She looked at me with a pitiful expression. Runan, I don't know what's going on between you and Lu Chen, but he's really been having a tough time lately. You know his grades have always been among the top. If he gets held back because of money, that would be such a shame. I glared at her. His misfortune doesn't concern me. I'm not his father. How can you say that? You used to like Lu Chen so much. Are you just going to watch him waste away like this? Some classmates who knew us gathered around, and Chen Ruoyan, contrary to her usual behavior, became even more fired up. He started to angrily berate me. You spend more on one meal than we do in a month, and a single bag costs more than several years of our tuition. What's wrong with giving us some money? Isn't that normal, or are you just that selfish, willing to waste your money rather than help people in need like us? She probably thought I was still the old Runan Lu, too embarrassed to argue with her, but she never could have imagined that I'd become someone I can't even control myself. I smirked at her for a while, thinking she had finally stopped pretending. Then I raised my hand and slapped her across the face. The room fell silent, and everyone stared at me with wide eyes. Chen Ruoyan, what the hell do you think you are, daring to ask me for money? Or are you tired of living, thinking you have a long life ahead? Otherwise, why would you do something so stupid? Chen Ruoyan stood frozen in place, covering her face, her eyes filled with unbelievable terror. You dare hit me, believe it or not, I'll report you and get you disciplined. I walked up to her and slapped the other side of her face twice. With a cold laugh, I said, go ahead and report me. See if I don't make you disappear from this school by tomorrow. Chen Ruoyan was too scared to make a sound. I said viciously, remember, I'm the boss here. If you dare mess with me again, I'll break your leg. Oh, you want money, huh? Begging suits you well, and it pays pretty good. If that doesn't work, you can always sell your ass, sure. You're ugly, but with the two mouths you've got, as long as you keep them happy, the money will come rolling in. I looked at her with disdain. The other students chimed in, yeah, if you don't have money, figure it out yourself, constantly begging others for money. Do you think they're your parents? Exactly, how shameless, with such a bad attitude when asking for money. She deserves to be poor. Chen Ruoyan took a step back, her eyes wide with disbelief. Then she pushed through the crowd and ran out. I laughed heartily, addressing the other students. Thank you, everyone. Today, I booked out the Houting Hotel, and I'll cover all the expenses. Time flew by, and before I knew it, I was already a sophomore. During this time, I had no interaction with Lu Chen and Chen Ruoyan, but I still learned about their recent situation from Qin Rong. Lu Chen borrowed a lot of debt again to treat his mother's illness, despite spending so much money. His mother still passed away, only Lu Chen was left. He went from being a spirited and popular school heartthrob to a workaholic who took on 3 part-time jobs during his free time. Even so, he still struggled financially. The overwhelming debt was suffocating him. Just after finishing his first year, Lu Chen chose to drop out of college, began a long and arduous journey. Chen Ruoyan's stepfather, after drinking, accidentally killed her mother and was sent to prison. From then on, she lost her source of income. However, fortunately, she applied for a student loan, which allowed her to barely continue her university studies. After confirming the marriage alliance with Xingxiang, both families immediately held an engagement banquet for us. On the day of the engagement banquet, I went to the restroom early because I wasn't feeling well, but at that moment, a sudden door slam made me turn around abruptly. It was Lu Chen standing at the door, dressed as a waiter. His gaze at me conveyed a complex mix of emotions. It was like guilt, yet also like pleading. He took a few steps toward me and suddenly knelt down. Runan, I know I was too willful before and hurt your feelings, but could you please not get engaged to that person? I promise I'll do whatever you ask from now on. Please, give me another chance. Okay. I looked at him with disdain, thoroughly displeased with his behavior at the moment. If he had any backbone, I might have respected him a bit. The more servile he became, the more I looked down on him. I stepped around him to leave, not even wanting to go to the bathroom anymore. But then, he suddenly grabbed me from behind with intense emotion, and he hysterically tried to assault me. Luo Nan, you used to like me, so why did you suddenly stop liking me? And that pretty boy you're engaged to, isn't it just because his family is better off than mine? Besides that, what could he possibly have that's better than me? I struggled to escape, but his grip was too strong. No matter how hard I tried, I couldn't pry his arm open. I was also trying to call for help, but after just 2 shouts, Luchin covered my mouth with his other hand. Don't waste your efforts. I've arranged things around this restroom for a long time, and no one is going to show up anytime soon. Just accept your fate and submit to me, once we've had our way with each other. Given that pretty boy's background, there's no way the two of you can be together. By then, you'll have no choice but to be with me, and if luck is on our side, we might hit the jackpot in one go. Haha. His laughter, tainted with the foul smell from his mouth, made me nauseous. This pushed the pent-up hatred in my heart to its peak in an instant. Perhaps in his eyes, I'm still the fragile young lady I once was, but now, I'm willing to risk it all, no holds barred. I lifted my right foot and stomped down hard on his instep with my heel. Then, during the moment he was bent over in pain, I slammed my head back into his. The sharp, satisfying pain caused him to instinctively loosen his grip. I immediately turned and jabbed my thumbs into his eyes. He quickly covered his eyes and backed away. This was the perfect moment while he couldn't see clearly, and I could have made a quick escape, but I, blinded by rage, was completely out of control. I won't stop until I've unleashed all my fury. I kicked off my high heels and held them in my hand. Then I delivered a flying kick right to his chest. He collapsed to the ground, clutching his head and wailing in pain. I slowly approached him with my 8-centimeter high heels. He blinked his recovered eyes, looking at me with an incredulous and horrified expression. Lou Runin, what do you want to do? I ignored him, rolled up my sleeves, and slammed the high heel in my hand into his crotch, in excruciating pain. He writhed on the ground like a dying man, howling in agony, and he kept cursing at me. You madman, do you know what you're doing? I grinned maliciously. Of course I know, because I'm going to kill you. The next half hour was spent in Luchen's agonizing screams. As I stomped on him with my 8-centimeter heel, I reveled in the feeling of release. Only when my heel was covered in his blood did I slowly regain my composure. However, just as I was about to leave, Chin Ruoyan burst in with a phone in hand. It suddenly dawned on me, this was the despicable scheme of those two. She had planned to take some nude photos of me after Luchin assaulted me to blackmail me. To her surprise, the scene before her left her speechless. She said in a trembling voice, Runin Lu, how could you? Seeing her stunned expression, that anger flared up again. With a few steps, I grabbed her hair and dragged her to the pit. Then, in her sudden, piercing screams, I pressed her entire face into the pit. You scheming bitch. You think taking a photo can threaten me? Do you think you're the only one who can? Chin Ruoyan struggled like a madwoman, her arms flailing wildly like they were powered by motors, but she still couldn't break free from my grip. I could only bury my face in the dirty water, blurting out muffled sounds. Lu Runin, spare me, gurgle, ugh. Meanwhile, I was recording with my phone and laughing loudly, with such dirty thoughts. I'll clean you up properly. Afterward, I didn't call the police, and I had someone take Luchin to the hospital, because he had 3 ribs broken and 28 stitches on his head, permanently infertile. Legally speaking, I fall under excessive self-defense. If I report this, there's a high chance I'll end up in court, and possibly face jail time. I'm not worried about Luchin reporting me to the police. After all, since he attempted rape, if it goes to court, he's looking at several years in prison. If he really wants to go down in flames, I'm not afraid either. With my prominent family background, I can still get bail. As for him, he definitely can't stand being in prison. My engagement party wasn't affected by such a minor incident and still ended perfectly. The pair of scoundrels didn't report it afterwards, which was exactly what I expected. After that, my dad arranged for me to study abroad, placing high hopes on me. Good daughter, since you're now in an arranged marriage, you can't just fool around anymore. Look at the kind of university you're attending. You'd better hurry up and go abroad to properly study finance. That way, you'll be able to take over the vast family business of the Lu family. When she learned I was going abroad to study, Xingxiang decided to go with me. Runin, wherever you go in the future, I'll follow. Let's never be apart. Okay, I won't leave you behind. Be good. On the day I left, Qin Rong held my hand and cried her heart out. Runin, why did you leave so suddenly? I wasn't prepared at all. I was still thinking about building our relationship. Sob. Alright, you're scaring me now. People would think something's wrong with me. By the way, you wanted to open a guest house. Right, I've already transferred the money to your card. It's up to you to decide what to do with it. If it doesn't work out, that's fine too. I can also arrange a position for you at the company. Runin, I really can't bear to leave you. Haha, I'll definitely repay you after I graduate, and I'll think about you every day. Haha, stop crying, your laughter is too loud. Before boarding, I uploaded the video of Chen Ruoyan drinking toilet water online. Not long after, We received a lot of feedback. Who is this woman? How did she get pushed into a cesspool? Ugh, that's so disgusting. I know this person, we go to the same school, she's already famous there, everyone is talking about her. Dude above, you're wrong, she's not just famous at your school, she's gone viral worldwide. Ugh, this woman made a name for herself with abstract art, what a manipulative bitch. I was reading the comments and laughing so hard my stomach hurt. Who knew being a scheming woman could feel so good? Time flies when you're studying abroad. Before I knew it, it was almost time to return home. During this time, I not only worked hard to complete my studies but also hired a retired soldier to teach me martial arts. Now, I can easily handle a few petty thieves. As for Lu Chen and Chen Ruoyan, that despicable couple, I haven't let my guard down against them either. Ever since they tried to kill me at my engagement, I've been hiring people to keep an eye on them. Even though I'm thousands of miles away across the ocean, I know everything about them. Lu Chen has been working tirelessly these years, but without a degree, he can only do the toughest and most exhausting jobs. He also thought about starting a business, but whatever he tried ended in failure. Not only did they fail to repay the previous debt, but they also lost all the hard-earned money. Chen Ruoyan continues to follow Lu Chen. Truly a devoted lover, I can't help but admire her. However, she did not graduate from school smoothly. It seems like the video I posted online made her unpopular at school. Halfway through, she couldn't take it anymore and dropped out. On the first day of my return, I received a call from Qin Rong. After exchanging pleasantries, I learned that she used the money I gave her to gradually grow her guesthouse into a well-known local hotel. I'm really happy for her. A few months later, Xingxiang and I got married. The venue was chosen at Qin Rong's hotel. Many business partners, media, and friends attended that day, but the one who made me want to laugh the most was only Qin Rong. When she saw me in my pure white wedding dress, she cried like a waterfall, as if she were getting married herself. Runan, you're truly so beautiful today. Sob, I'm so happy for you. Sob, I softly comforted her. Alright, stop crying, it's my wedding day, and look at you, you're a mess, but I just can't help it. Runan, you're going to be so happy. I wish you and the young master a lifetime of happiness together. Okay, I get it. Oh, and today, bring out all your best and most expensive stuff. I guarantee this order will make up your sales for the entire year. Runan, I'm truly happy for you. Haha, don't worry, I promise you'll get the best of the best from me. Haha. At the beginning of the wedding, not only was there a large turnout of friends and relatives, but it was also live-streamed, and so my wedding concluded perfectly under the watchful eyes of everyone. But what surprised me was that not long after the wedding, some bad news came. The private detective I hired told me a piece of information he had overheard. Lu Chen and Chen Ruoyan, upon learning of my return from the news, planned to kidnap me for ransom. Initially, I was a bit worried when I heard about it, but soon enough, I came up with a plan. Since they're looking for trouble, I might as well oblige them. I first hired a private bodyguard, planning to let that unscrupulous couple kidnap me. Then, I had the bodyguard secretly follow them and capture evidence of their crime. The bodyguard also warned me that this was very dangerous, but for the sake of living a peaceful life in the future, I had to take this risk. That day, as I walked down the street, I noticed someone following me. I thought, finally, that sleazy couple has shown up. Otherwise, all the wandering around with my bodyguard every day would have been in vain. I deliberately walked into a secluded area. Sure enough, I was kidnapped with a sack over my head and a knife at my waist. The bodyguard lurking in the shadows recorded everything that just happened. I was taken to an abandoned warehouse. When the sack was removed from my head, I indeed saw Lu Chen and Chen Ruoyan. However, their appearance took me by surprise. They're just terrible. Both are sallow and emaciated, with hollow eyes, heavy dark circles under their eyes, as if they haven't slept in ages. Their hair is messy, and their clothes are tattered. But what puzzled me the most was that Chen Ruoyan was heavily pregnant. She's pregnant. Whose child is it then? I clearly remember that Lu Chen had lost his fertility. Before I could think it through, Chen Ruoyan's triumphant gaze fell upon me. Lu Runan, never thought you'd end up in my hands one day, did you? What do you think I should do with you? I warned her. Do you know what the consequences of this will be? She burst out laughing. Of course I know, but I've already thought of a way out. As long as I get the ransom from you, I can live a carefree life abroad with endless money. By then, the world will be vast, and no one can control me. After she took my phone, she had Lu Chen call my dad. When the call connected, Lu Chen threatened my dad harshly and demanded 50 million in ransom right away. To confirm that I was indeed kidnapped, he even had me talk to my dad. He also sent photos of my kidnapping to my dad. This suits me just fine, because this completely solidifies the irrefutable evidence of my kidnapping. About an hour later, I used the hidden razor blade to cut the ropes binding my arms. Then, in the moment when Lucien wasn't paying attention, I suddenly took a big step and kicked him flying. After a loud crash, the bodyguards outside the warehouse drove in. With lightning speed, he took control of Lucien, who was lying on the ground. Chen Ruoyan, just realizing what was happening, held a dagger in both hands. Don't come closer, you stay back. Chen Ruoyan, give up, you can't possibly stand against me. Her expression grew increasingly agitated, her gaze toward me filled with hatred. She let out a scream and lunged at me with the dagger. I sidestepped, delivering a chop with my palm that struck his neck. She immediately fell to the ground, the dagger flying out of her hand. I slowly approached her, disdainfully saying, Chen Ruoyan, how could you be so brainless? Do you really think you could catch me that easily? She suddenly realized, so everything was deliberately planned by you. No wonder the rope suddenly came loose. You had prepared in advance. I chuckled. That's right, I designed it, but you kidnapped me, so you're going to jail. I stroked her round belly, grinning mischievously. But the worst news for you might not be jail. She looked at me nervously. What do you want? This child is innocent. Don't worry, I won't do anything to your child. I just want to confirm something. She was suspicious. What is it? You're about to give birth, aren't you? Whose child is this? Oh, and don't even think about saying it's Lu Chen's. Because I won't believe it. Of course, it's brother Chen's child. Who are you to say you don't believe it? I turned to Lu Chen and probed. Lu Chen, is the child in her belly yours? He avoided eye contact, paused for a moment, and stammered, of course it's mine, or whose else would it be? I chuckled. Lu Chen, don't you know that I know about your infertility? Stop being stubborn and tell the truth. Whose child is this? Seeing that I had exposed him, he became flustered but still tried to remain calm and refused to admit it. So, I decisively showed Chen Ruoyan the medical diagnosis of my injury from my phone. The diagnosis noted permanent loss of fertility, documenting Lu Chen's true condition. Chen Ruoyan's mind instantly crumbled, leaving her utterly devastated. I leaned close to her ear and coldly said, let me tell you the truth. Lu Chen was already rendered infertile by me, so I'm absolutely certain the child in your belly isn't his. If you don't dare to ask, then I'll do it. I had my bodyguard drag Lu Chen over from a distance, then I stepped on his hand and ground it. Tell me, whose child is this? At first, he still remained stubborn. However, under my persistent questioning, before long, he confessed everything. This child belongs to Uncle Wang next door. Chen Ruoyan broke down in tears, shouting, are you even human? I'm your wife. How could you do something so monstrous? I had no choice. Back then, our family was on the brink of starvation, so I agreed to let him have a child in exchange for 200,000 yuan. Chen Ruoyan was so emotionally overwhelmed that she couldn't accept the truth and passed out. I immediately called the police and 120. Finally, Lu Chen was taken away by the police and sentenced to 7 years. After being sent to the hospital, Chen Ruoyan not only lost her child but also nearly died from postpartum hemorrhage. However, she ultimately couldn't escape her prison sentence. Her life is completely ruined, and since it was self-defense, I came out of it completely unscathed. Life is thriving, and both my family and career are flourishing. I'm living quite the life. Story 2. Just as I was about to swipe my card to pay the down payment, I pulled my hand back from entering the PIN. Sorry, I'm not buying it. As I grabbed my bank card to leave, my fiancé, who had just moments ago sworn to love me forever, suddenly changed his tune. Wan. Didn't we agree that after paying the down payment today, we'd go to the Civil Affairs Bureau tomorrow to get married? Why are you suddenly not buying it? My future mother-in-law's bony, claw-like hand tightly gripped mine, preventing me from leaving, her voice piercingly sharp, almost cracking. What are you making a fuss about? We already agreed, and the contracts are signed. You can't just walk away like this. Do you still want to marry my son? The sales assistant at the property office rushed in front of me with a POS machine, blocking my way out. Miss, the 3-bedroom, 2-living-room apartment you and your family chose is in very high demand. If you don't pay the down payment soon, we'll have to sell it to someone else. Zhou Hui shuddered at the thought of the deal slipping through his fingers and commanded with the authority of a family patriarch, Qin Wan, be reasonable. Don't push it too far, this is our wedding home. And you can't just say no to buying it. Moreover, today is the final payment deadline according to the contract. If you choose not to proceed, it constitutes a breach of contract, and you won't get back the 100,000 yuan deposit. Since the house was booked without my knowledge, The 100,000 yuan deposit naturally came from Zhou Hui's family. The old lady instantly flew into a rage upon hearing that the 100,000 yuan might disappear, her grip tightening even more, pinching my forehead so hard it wrinkled, while her free hand reached out to snatch my bag. Hand over the bag quickly, be quick about it, and I might treat you better once you're in the door. My desk-bound strength was no match for the vigor of an old lady who, despite her age, still tended to her vegetable plots in the countryside. The lady's fine leather bag with delicate straps was quickly snatched away by the old lady, the thin shoulder strap breaking under the strain, leaving red scratches on my fair shoulders and arms. If you don't give it to me when I ask, it's your own fault if it breaks. I furrowed my brow and stared intently at the old lady's hand, watching helplessly as she took out my bank card and handed it back to the sales assistant so naturally. Swipe the card. Hurry up, we're in a rush. The assistant gave me an awkward smile, swiped the card skillfully, and handed the POS machine to me. Miss, please enter your PIN. I grabbed the POS machine, snapped my bank card in half, and said, I told you, I'm not buying. Are you deaf or something? But your husband and mother-in-law. I'm not married, I don't have a husband or a mother-in-law. Before the old lady could start yelling, I snatched the damaged bag back, pulled out my phone and ID, and threw the empty bag right into Zhou Hui's face, which was full of dissatisfaction and accusations. The bag you gave me, I'm returning it to you. Amid the old lady's furious curses and Zhou Hui's discussion with the salesgirl about delaying the down payment, I left this place in my 7-centimeter stilettos. 2. Rebirth. Driving the small car my family bought me after work, I made my way back home. Enter the familiar password, and as soon as you step through the door, you see your parents in the living room, mom and dad. Seeing the familiar faces from memory come alive before your eyes, tears begin to blur your vision. Oh, what's wrong, our dear? Why are you crying? Did your boyfriend bully you? Tell me, Dad will go and beat him up for you. Just before entering my bank card password, my mind went blank, and suddenly, a memory that shouldn't have surfaced appeared. In that memory, I was deceived by Zhou Hui's sweet words, and I ended up sacrificing my own and my parents' entire fortune to serve the Zhou family for decades. Only on my deathbed did I learn from my son that Zhou Hui had been plotting against me and my family from the very beginning. He even took this as his badge of honor, telling his son and grandson, but never me. Mom and Dad. Zhou Hui proposed to me with a, after crying enough in my mother's arms, I went to the bathroom to wash my face, feeling a bit embarrassed. With a hoarse voice, he told his parents everything that had happened from yesterday to today. Mom couldn't hold back her anger first. What a scheme, a mere $100,000 in loans to buy a 3-bedroom, 2-living-room apartment in the city center, and marry my daughter off to him. What a scheme. Dad slammed the tea table heavily. If it weren't for the solid wood and monolithic marble surface of the table at home, it might have been shattered by his force. I told you from the start that this Zhou fellow was not a good match for our family, and it wouldn't end well. You didn't believe me, and look, you've been fooled. I timidly spoke up. Dad, it was close, but I didn't swipe my card to pay. Mom had endured Zhou Hui for far too long and was relentless in exposing him. Have you forgotten all the money you spent on him during your relationship? He bought you a fake luxury bag for a few $100 on Valentine's Day, while you naively bought him a pair of authentic sneakers worth thousands. On his birthday, he took you to a street stall for a 5 yuan bowl of fried rice, but on your birthday, you took him to a fancy Western restaurant where the meal costs over 1,000 yuan per person. And what about the gifts he brought last time he came to our house? Apart from that bag of bananas, wasn't everything else taken from our family's storage? With every word my mom said, my head lowered a bit more, as if I were back in first grade, afraid of getting beaten for failing the final exam. Mom, I know I was wrong. Back then, I was focused on getting married, so I didn't think that much about it. Mom gently tapped my head, careful to avoid using her nails, her tone filled with helplessness. 3. Proposal. I had only been home for half an hour, and hadn't even finished complaining to my parents when the doorbell rang. Sure enough, it was Zhou Hui and his mother at the door. 1. Why did you leave without a word, leaving me and my mom behind? Seeing no one behind me, he reached out to grab my arm. Good girl, I'll take you to the bank to replace your card, and tomorrow we'll pay the down payment for the house. I sidestepped Zhou Hui's hand, giving Zhou's mother a chance to slip in. Auntie, what are you doing? I didn't invite you in. With no one guarding the door, Zhou Hui walked in confidently, and neither he nor his mother changed their shoes, showing no sense of being guests at all. 1. We're getting married soon, so your home is my home. Show some respect to my mother. I followed with a cold expression, shuffling in my slippers, and immediately saw the standoff between my parents and Joe Huey's family in the living room. The old lady Joe's hoarse, triumphant voice rang out, "In-laws, you're home, perfect. We can discuss the wedding of the two kids. Marry what? We never agreed to it. Wanwan would never marry your son." "Uncle, Auntie, Wanwan already agreed to my marriage proposal yesterday. My mom and I are here today to formally ask for her hand in marriage." My parents glanced at the two empty-handed individuals, pulled me to their side, and then looked at them sharply. "Oh, coming empty-handed and just relying on words to propose. I've never heard of such a thing." Zhou Hui immediately took out the house purchase contract from his briefcase, presenting it to my parents with an air of arrogance. "Uncle and Aunt, rest assured, I've already found the perfect house. Wanwan will definitely be happy if she marries me." Upon reincarnation, I suddenly realized that Zhou Hui's mercenary nature had always been there since he was young, not something that had been worn down by the mundane routines of daily life. He dared to bring it out because he was certain of my infatuation, confident he could win over my parents. How ridiculous. I really want to dig up my past self and give it a beating. I took the contract and, under my parents' increasingly grim expressions, I took the initiative to ask, "Have you paid the down payment?" Zhou Hui looked at me with an incredulous gaze, as if I were a heartless woman. "Wanwan, you know my family's situation. The 100,000 yuan I paid as a deposit has drained all my savings over the years. This house is for our future life together. Didn't we agree yesterday that you would cover the remaining 980,000 yuan? Mom knows how much money I have. The 980,000 yuan would almost completely deplete all my savings." She gave me a sharp look. "I told you not to reveal your financial situation to the man before marriage. Didn't you just ignore me?" I averted my eyes guiltily, every hair on my body standing on end in fear of a beating. "For negotiation," I heard my mother's calm voice negotiating with Zhou Hui. "In that case, since we've already paid 980,000, what's another 100,000? Hearing my mom say it was all clear, Mrs. Zhou got excited. "That's great. My husband and I were just planning to renovate our old house back home, and we're a bit short on funds. So, in-laws, when are we going to arrange the wedding for the kids? How much dowry are you planning to give?" My mom made a downward pressing gesture with her palm in front of my astonished gaze. "Calm down, let me finish first. If our family provides the house, then it's not dowry anymore. It becomes bride price. Consider it as your son marrying into our family. How does that sound?" I gave my mom a mental thumbs up. Mom's got game. As an only child born under the one-child policy, Zhou was the sole male heir even in their rural family. Naturally, they couldn't agree. Zhou Laotai stood with one hand on her hip, pointing at my mother's nose and started yelling. "I've always felt something was off about your family, with just one daughter. I see now what you've been planning. You can't have a son, so you want to take mine. How heartless can you be, making my son marry into your family and become your son? Let me tell you, it's impossible, not in this lifetime." Zhou Hui stood behind his mother, looking visibly hurt. "Wanwan, do you think the same way too? After all these years of our relationship, are you really going to erase it all for a little money?" My mother was the one being scolded, and I can't understand why Zhou Hui had the nerve to ask me that. I didn't bother arguing with him. The mastermind is standing right there. Am I supposed to seek an explanation from an accomplice? That'd be ridiculous. "Aunt Zhou, what my mother said is correct. Since ancient times, marriage has never been a case of getting something for nothing. Your verbal attacks are extremely rude. Please apologize to my mother, Wanwan. How could you treat my mother like this? She is the one who raised me with great hardship. You should respect her as if she were your own mother." My mom let out a cold laugh. I'm not dead yet. My daughter already has a real mother. She doesn't need another real mother who needs to be worshipped like an ancestor." Grandma Zhou jumped up in anger. "You think you're so great just because you're from the city. How can you talk like that? Is there anything wrong with what my son said? Once she marries into our family, she's one of us. She'll be serving me and Zhou Hui's father in the future. What business is it of yours? If you know what's good for you, hand over the money quickly. Maybe we'll treat your daughter better in the future. Otherwise, just watch." My dad shifted his body slightly, blocking the spittle Zhou's grandmother sprayed at my mom. "We have a car and a house, and our daughter won't have trouble finding a husband. If this is your attitude, then sorry. We don't agree to this marriage." My mom tightened her grip on my hand and gave me a look that said don't speak, then stated, "That's right, we don't agree." I obediently stayed behind my parents, pretending to be a quail. 5. Entanglement. Zhou Hui and his mother didn't gain the upper hand in the 3-on-2 confrontation and were eventually escorted out of the community by the property management. I thought that after all this, my relationship with Zhou Hui would be tacitly considered over. To my surprise, the next morning as soon as I turned on my computer at my desk, a colleague told me someone was looking for me. Wan, my mom was a bit impulsive yesterday and said some harsh things. Please don't take it to heart. I took a step back with disgust, avoiding Zhou Hui's outstretched hand, and only after putting some safe distance between us did I speak calmly. What do you want from me? Zhou Hui, having been avoided, merely curled his fingers and showed no further reaction. He gave a smile that he only ever showed upon receiving expensive gifts, speaking in the deep voice I used to adore but now find utterly repulsive. Wan, have you forgotten that we need to pay the down payment for our wedding house today? The agent told me that this house is in high demand. If we don't pay the down payment before work ends today, the 100,000 yuan deposit will be lost, and we don't know when we'll be able to get married. I pouted and said, if you really want to buy it, pay for it yourself. Coming to me is useless. I thought we had broken up. Zhou Hui's forehead visibly furrowed deeply. Every time I saw this expression on him, I would take the initiative to apologize, even if it wasn't my fault. Alright, don't say such childish things. We've been through so much together, and you just accepted my marriage proposal the other day. How can you just break up like that? Quick, grab your ID, ask for leave from your boss, and let's go pay the down payment. Then we'll get our marriage certificate. I remember in our past life, during our arguments, Zhou Hui repeatedly used "this is my house" to force me to compromise, and the resentment inside me just couldn't stop. Mary, why not buy the house after we get married? Buying it after marriage would make it joint property, wouldn't it? You know, I'm a man, I need face. How can I hold my head up in front of others without any premarital assets? So he knew. He knew that only with property could a person stand tall in their own little family after marriage. At this moment, the resentment around me was so thick it almost materialized. So, you're saying you want to turn my premarital 980,000 into your premarital property? Zhou Hui, how much sincerity do you really have for me? Sincerity, naturally, there is none. I'm no longer a young girl in my early 20s. A lifetime of hard work in my previous life has erased the indecisiveness I once had. Go away, I won't pay this money. If anyone is willing to be a fool, you should marry them, not me. Zhou Hui was finally escorted out of my company building by security guards. My colleagues all knew that I had a falling out with Zhou Hui. 6. Compensation for lost youth. I don't know if Zhou Hui ever bought that house. In my previous life, after getting married, I was deceived into becoming a housewife for the rest of my life. And I even gave up my career. Before I knew it, a month had passed. And a phone call once again disturbed the calm of my heart. Hey, are you busy? Let's chat. Okay. Zhou Yan, Zhou Hui's sister, was in the same boat as me in our past lives, exploited by old lady Zhou all our lives. But perhaps there was something inherently wrong with the Zhou family's genes, as Zhou Yan not only didn't support me, but also chose to kick me while I was down. In her previous life, Zhou Yan was married for less than a decade before her husband cheated, forcing her to leave with her child and nothing else. With nowhere to go, her in-laws brought her and her son to my home. Zhou Yan showed no gratitude and often ingratiated herself with her in-laws by tormenting and abusing me, which led to the loss of my first child. Seeing Zhou Yan's plain face and slightly fuller figure after giving birth, I frowned slightly. What do you want? Make it quick, I need to get back to work. Zhou Yan has always been a bully at home. In our past life, I was the only one she dared to treat with contempt. Clearly she hasn't grasped the situation this time around. If I don't allow it, 10 of her couldn't lay a finger on me. I heard you dumped my brother after his proposal. Is that true? So you've come to accuse me. It's not that I dumped him, we just had a falling out and broke up. Why, my brother is so outstanding. He even managed to pass the exams in our small town. He's practically a star from heaven. Why wouldn't you like him? Hearing this ridiculous claim again, I couldn't help but laugh. I managed to suppress my laughter under Zhou Yan's fiery glare. Haha, sorry. I didn't expect you to be so funny. I couldn't help it, you might not know. But Zhou Hui only got into our school by the skin of his teeth, and only through. If the star of literature looked like him, even the Jade Emperor would have to choose a new one. Zhou Yan was so angry her fingers trembled. Well, you finally told the truth. You just don't think much of my brother. It's fine if you don't want to get married, but I need to seek justice for my brother. You need to compensate him for the years of his youth you wasted, and cash out all the gifts he gave you. If you don't marry him, there are plenty of girls lining up to do so, just wait and regret it. I frowned, a thought suddenly striking me. Zhou Hui hasn't managed to gather the down payment yet. Zhou Yan's face flashed with a hint of guilt, but she quickly straightened up, speaking with determination. It's already paid off. My brother now owns a house, but this house has nothing to do with you. Don't even think about it. I raised an eyebrow. You borrowed money, how much? Are you expecting me to help Zhou Hui fill the gap? Zhou Yan's secret was guessed, and her face turned very unattractive. With all her previous arrogance gone, you don't need to worry about that. Just give me the money, 900,000 yuan, and I'll leave immediately. I understood. Oh, you've raised 80,000 yuan for your brother, and now you want me to give you 900,000. Does your husband know about this? Zhou Yan's husband had once been tricked by Zhou Yan's parents into giving them 100,000 yuan as a betrothal gift, and he strongly dislikes Zhou Yan giving money to her family. Her husband managed to walk away unscathed from his affair thanks to those insatiable old folks. With just a small bribe, he got dirt on the elderly couple and made them pressure Zhou Yan into leaving empty-handed with their child. Why, you're lying. I didn't do it. The panic on their face said it all. 7. Extortion. I slowly flipped my phone over on the table, calmly pressed stop recording, and then dialed the police. Hello, I'm at XX Road XX Cafe, and someone here is trying to extort 900,000 from me. Due to the large amount involved, the police arrived quickly. Zhou Yan ran away, but this is the busiest commercial street in the city center. Even a mosquito flying by could be tracked. Zhou Yan went in, and the police contacted her family. Her husband came to handle the formalities for her. In my previous life, I saw their photo on Zhou Yan's phone wallpaper. They hadn't divorced yet at that time. In the police station lobby, I immediately recognized Zhou Yan's husband. I struck up a conversation with him, casually mentioning that the Zhou family had bought a house in the city center here and that his wife might have taken some money. The money your wife took out as marital property. If you sue now, you should still be able to recover it. With the recording, the man believed it immediately for 3/10. And the rest he could confirm by checking the accounts. After settling the matter, I walked away. For my own mental and physical well-being, I didn't continue to follow the situation between Zhou Yan and her husband. It wasn't until I went to the police station to collect the final case report that I heard Zhou Yan's husband hadn't hired a lawyer for her, nor had he posted her bail. Due to the large amount involved in the extortion, Zhou Yan was sentenced to 7 years in prison. Hearing this outcome, I was momentarily stunned. In my previous life, the Zhou family had swindled millions from me. Later, when my parents passed away unexpectedly, all of our family's assets were inherited by me. The Zhou family swindled everyone out of their money, amassing at least 20 million yuan in total. If 900,000 yuan gets you 7 years, how long should they rot in jail for 20 million? 8. Loan sharking. I saw Zhou Hui again 2 weeks later. He had a scruffy beard, a cast on his right leg, and was leaning on a crutch, blocking me at the entrance of the park. Wan, I know I was wrong. I'm willing to marry into your family. Just get your parents to give me 2 million right now, and I'll go with you to get the marriage certificate immediately. I gave him a puzzled look but didn't give him the answer he wanted. Who did this to you? This is from a fall, not from being beaten. Oh, never mind then. But I have a new boyfriend now. I don't need you to marry into my family. Don't come looking for me. Wan, after all these years together, how can you bear to just give up on us? Break up with him quickly. I promise I won't you. Let's get back together. Okay. I ignored him and, looking at the private car I had just called not far away, I said to him, my boyfriend is here to pick me up. Goodbye. Of course, there is no boyfriend. I am not a heartless being, with decades of bad memories. I have no interest in romance. Maybe one day in the future I'll come around and accept someone else, but for now, I just want to focus on my career and take care of my parents. Knowing Zhou Hui's malicious nature, I was afraid he might cause trouble for me and my parents, so after the incident, I had someone investigate Zhou Hui. Apart from the 80,000 yuan that his sister stole, the rest of the down payment of 1 million yuan was actually borrowed from loan sharks. I still remember that shortly after our marriage in my previous life, Zhou Hui convinced me to ask my parents for 300,000 yuan for renovations. My parents once mentioned to me, the result shouldn't be what you have with 300,000 yuan spent. I didn't believe them, still too young, not mature enough, that Syrian-style renovation with exposed wires, saying it cost 100,000 is just giving Zhou Hui face. In this life, without me plugging the holes for the Zhou family, within 2 months. 1 million has already rolled up to 1.5 million in interest. Zhou Hui's leg was broken by loan sharks. 9. Murder for money. I had someone constantly follow Zhou Hui and his parents, informed my own parents about the Zhou family's situation, and had them hire bodyguards as well. In my previous life, my parents were killed in a car accident a year after my wedding. Just before the incident, I had a huge argument with my parents because they refused to give me money to treat Grandma Zhou. Looking back now, it's clear that Mrs. Zhou was faking her illness, which makes that car accident highly suspicious. The whole thing started with Mrs. Zhou falling ill, and after the accident, the biggest beneficiary was Zhou Hui, who swindled all our family's assets. Only a fool would believe the accident had nothing to do with Zhou Hui. It didn't take long before, after being hounded by creditors again, he sneaked into our garage using the access I had granted him during our relationship. I let you play me, I'll make you lose everything. His entire scheme, including what he said, was recorded by the people tailing him. Seeing the video, I remembered how Zhou Hui wouldn't let me touch anything after my parents' accident in my previous life. He immediately took their car to scrap it. All under the guise of good intentions. 1. I'm afraid you'll be too emotional, too heartbroken. Leave the arrangements for your parents' funeral to me. I'll handle everything perfectly for you. Furious, I immediately reported the incident, submitted evidence, and sought a lawyer to sue Zhou Hui for attempted murder, perhaps hoping to win me back. Zhou Hui only tampered with my parents' car. The car was taken by the police for investigation. And only then did they realize how narrowly they had escaped death. My mother hugged my shoulder, trembling with fear. 1. Mom will never pressure you to get married again. I'd rather you stay single for life than be targeted by such a demon. Dad thinks more deeply. One can't be overly paranoid. Don't talk like a child. Marriage is still important, and there are good boys out there. When the time comes, Mom and Dad will help you choose carefully. The evidence is conclusive. Zhou Hui attempted murder and was sentenced quickly to 3 years in prison. His parents had already stopped working by the time he graduated from university. Once he was incarcerated, they completely lost their source of income. The old couple's children were all in jail. Their grandson wasn't close to them, and their son-in-law didn't offer any help. They were harassed by loan sharks every day and had no way to deal with it. In less than 3 months, they couldn't keep up with the mortgage payments, and the house was auctioned off by the court before they even moved in. The foreclosure process concluded, and the court awarded the surplus 200,000 yuan to the elderly couple. The Zhou family, hearing the news, the loan shark company arrived that very night, smashed down their door, and seized the money. This scene was captured by the neighbors of the Zhou couple and posted in the community owners group. You can't take this money. It's ours. What nonsense are you talking? Your son hasn't even paid back the principal he owes us. This is our money. Due to his intense resistance, old Zhou suffered a stroke and became paralyzed, with only his eyes still able to move. After reading the follow-up, I left the group that Zhou Hui had tricked me into joining to help him take care of his parents. Once the wicked have no one to exploit, they will be dealt with by karma. 10. The end. Gradually, I forgot about the existence of Zhou Hui's family. With my family's support, my career was thriving. 3 years later, Zhou Hui was released, with a criminal record, making it impossible for him to get any decent, easy job. He came back to me. 1. I know you haven't gotten married yet. Can you give me another chance? I'll treat you well. I only asked him one question. Have you visited your parents? As soon as he was released, he went to see them. But the condition of the 2 elderly people was terrible. He didn't want to take responsibility, so he simply didn't show up in front of them. Aren't you the one who doesn't like my parents? Isn't it good if we don't see them anymore, and I treat your parents as my own? I was speechless. His reminder instantly brought back the reason he went in. Are you out of your mind from prison? How can you even say you'll take care of them after almost killing my parents? I was so harassed that I had to report him for stalking. Zhou Hui was detained for a few days because his household registration was not in the city. His residence permit had already expired, and he was sent back to his original hometown. The next time I saw Zhou Hui was 4 years later. The first thing Zhou Yan did after being released from prison was to seek revenge on me. I don't know where she got such intense hatred, but she stabbed me over a dozen times with a fruit knife at my doorstep. It's all your fault that I got divorced and abandoned by my parents. If it weren't for you getting me arrested, how could my son be abused by his stepmother? She said a lot, but I was in too much pain to listen properly. and I lost consciousnous after hearing only half of it. I was lucky, the stab didn't hit any vital organs. My neighbor called the police and an ambulance in time, saving my life. Zhou Yan's intentional murder this time was heinous, and since she had just been released from prison, she was given an even harsher sentence, life imprisonment. Zhou Hui came to the hospital, knelt down, and earnestly begged me to forgive his sister. My sister is now my only family left. Please, let her go, will you? She didn't mean it, it's just that her son was abused by his stepmother, and he lost his life. That's why she acted this way. If you have any lasting effects, I'll marry you and take care of you for the rest of your life. Please, let her go. Okay, Zhou Hui said a lot. But all I heard were the words only family member and her son was tortured to death. Haha, although it's a bit immoral, everyone from my past life who wronged me, except for the Zhou siblings, is dead. How wonderful. Of course, that was my answer. You told your sister about your nephew's death, didn't you? Zhou Hui fled in panic, with a suspicion in mind. Checking Zhou Yan's prison visit records was easy. Zhou Hui was officially arrested by the police a few days later on charges of instigating murder. My parents were furious about how the Zhou family treated me, so they sent someone to investigate Zhou Hui in his hometown. Suspicions arose about the deaths of Zhou Hui's parents, and evidence was submitted to the police. Police from both locations collaborated in the investigation and conducted a surprise interrogation of Zhou Hui. It was discovered that Zhou Hui had taken out high-value insurance policies on his parents before their deaths. Zhou Hui has survived these years by relying on insurance. With no money left, he turned his attention to his imprisoned sister and me, who was still unmarried. This was a case of murder and insurance fraud, a heinous crime. He was sentenced to life imprisonment and will spend the rest of his life atoning for his sins. After the Zhou family incident, my mother first explicitly made a demand of me. Wan, your dad and I are getting old too, we can't help but worry about you being alone in the future. I agreed to my parents' matchmaking request, and each candidate was carefully selected by them. They just wanted me to meet new friends, not with any specific purpose in mind. I made a lot of friends, but didn't find them a good son-in-law. Instead, I became much more outgoing. Several years later, I found a same-sex partner with similar interests and age, who also didn't have children, and we decided to live together. Seeing that we took good care of each other and there were no property disputes, my parents stopped pressuring me to make friends. In our later years, we made a will to donate our assets to the country after our deaths, and the community took good care of us. The care we received was even more thoughtful and thorough than the support my son provided in my previous life. And no one will ever criticize me for spending money on medical care again. I didn't have any injuries from taking care of children or doing housework. My occupational illnesses from earlier years gradually improved through physical therapy after retirement. In my later years, both physically and mentally, I lived a comfortable life without much suffering. The end. That's it for the first story. Don't go away. The next one is even more exciting. While I was worrying about this month's food expenses, I saw Guqin give the malted milk powder I bought for our daughter to his white moonlight. My husband, who usually looked down on me with disdain, was gazing at another woman with tender, affectionate eyes, thinking of my daughter at home, her little face pale from hunger. I rushed over in a frenzy to confront him. He pointed at my nose and yelled, "Don't make a scene like some shrew in public. It's just a can of malted milk, isn't it? Manning, what's wrong with having some to build up your strength when you're so frail?" Turning to the white moonlight, he looked apologetic again. "She's just a country girl, don't take it to heart. Let me see you home." Later, this country girl went to the big city to make her fortune and became the first millionaire in the county, while he and the white moonlight both came to seek refuge with me, watching Guqin ride away on his bicycle, escorting Luo Manning. I struggled to ignore the sympathetic glances around me and forced myself to stand up and walk home. As soon as I opened the door, I saw my daughter eagerly waiting in the house. "Mommy, where's my malt extract?" Seeing me return empty-handed, she opened her mouth and burst into tears with a loud wah. Seeing my daughter's disappointed face, I ran over, my heart aching. I crouched down and hugged her, tears streaming uncontrollably. How could I let her know, this little one, that her father, whom she always admired, had given her malt extract to another woman? Gu Cheng's monthly income as a teacher was not much, and for the past 2 months, he hadn't even given me any money for household expenses. All day at home, I barely see him except when he sleeps at night. My daughter always pulls my hand and asks, "Where is Daddy? Hasn't he come back yet? Mom, I miss Daddy so much. Hasn't he come back yet? Mom, I miss Daddy so much." Today is my daughter's birthday. I asked someone to buy a can of malted milk for me early on, since the canteen was busy today. I asked Guching to bring it back for me. Who would have thought I'd see that scene after work? He should never, ever touch the children's things. My daughter seemed to sense something was wrong and wriggled out of my embrace. Mommy, don't cry. She wiped my tears with her little hands, and I forced a smile through my choked sobs, looking at her. Tian Tian, today is your birthday. Mommy will make you a bowl of longevity noodles. Would you like that? Eating them will bless our Tian Tian with good health. The little one nodded and obediently climbed back onto the bed to sit. I wiped my face and borrowed 2 eggs from Aunt Wang next door to make noodles for my daughter. After getting my daughter to sleep, I sat at the table eating the already cold noodles. The clock on the wall struck 10, and Guching returned. Seeing me mechanically chewing a low, icy sarcasm echoed in my ear. That's your best quality. No matter what happens outside, you never starve yourself. A whiff of women's face cream wafted into my nose. With great effort, I suppressed the ache in my heart and couldn't help but retort. Do you think I'd sit here and eat just to please a guy like you? To the point of despair, Guching was taken aback, seemingly not expecting the usually obedient me to argue back. He turned his back to me, scolding me sternly just like he would with his students. Eat, 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 that's all you ever think about. Look at you, you don't even act like a woman, you never bother to tidy yourself up, you eat like a pig, and all you do is hang out with the neighbors. Aunt Wang gossiping about others. How vulgar, ignorant, got nothing better to do. Manning just got back to launching recently, we grew up together. Looking out for her a bit more is only natural, isn't it? Just because I gave a can of malted milk, you're acting all sour-faced. Is this the kind of awareness you have as a family member of a people's teacher? Is this your level of awareness? Hearing him say that, I couldn't help but laugh in my heart. It's such a pity for him, Guching, to have married me. Any disagreement and it's because I lack awareness. As a rural woman who only knows how to put effort into making some delicious dishes, I truly don't deserve such a high and mighty man. Turning to look at my daughter's sleeping face, her brows furrowed, I suddenly felt drained of strength. I stopped speaking and began to clear the dishes from the table on my own. Seeing that I didn't respond, he softened his expression. In the future, don't speak without thinking, acting like a jealous shrew. If it weren't for your parents, I wouldn't have. I felt a deep chill and looked up at him, my hands trembling with anger. What wouldn't you have done? Not married me, right, back then? When Chang's father suddenly fell ill, he was taking an exam in the county, and Chang's mother came to my house in tears, begging for help. It was me and my dad who carried Chang's father to the hospital. Such cold weather, knee-deep snow, and a full 20 miles to go. My dad and I walked to the hospital step by step, leaving one footprint after another. Although the elderly man passed away half a year later, my dad developed a condition where his knees and below would ache severely on rainy days. He still has to go for acupuncture treatments from time to time. I was injured by the cold, leaving me with menstrual cramps, and even after giving birth to Tian Tian, it didn't improve. If anything, it got worse. Once I was in so much pain I almost passed out, almost fainted from the pain. Whenever it gets cold, I get frostbite on my feet. It keeps coming back. What has all this been for the past 5 years? It wasn't my parents forcing Guching to marry me. We never intended to use our gratitude as leverage. I knew deep down that Guching had someone in his heart, and he liked remaining. Everyone knew that. One day, while I was feeding the pigs in the pigsty, Guching came up behind me, snatched the ladle from my hand, and pulled me aside, saying seriously, "Niu Gue, marry me." Back then, looking at the tall and handsome man in front of me, I felt like a mouse that had been hit by a giant piece of candy. I willingly fell into this sweet trap, only to later find out that Romaining had married and left in city. I guess I was just his choice in moments of disappointment. Tears blurred my vision, and I saw him turn away in disgust, a box tied with a red ribbon hidden under his collar. I lost my mind and rushed over, snatching the box away. Upon closer inspection, it turned out to be a scarf. I can't understand the pattern, and I've never seen it on women on the street. In my memory, only the women in the art troupe who dance would wear it, and Luo Meniying is usually dressed fashionably, loves to wear scarves the most, which is obviously, this isn't for me. Guching was shocked and tried to grab it, but I held it behind me and sneered, "Is this for Luo Meniying?" He nervously grabbed my hand, the first time I'd ever seen such an expression on his face. I tightly held on, staring at the things my husband had bought for another woman, but a woman's strength is no match for a man's. He pried open each of my fingers, snatching it back and looking at the crushed gift box. His face immediately flushed with distress. "Chen Yo Gue, are you out of your mind? So what if I gave it to Manling? Would it even look good on you with that figure of yours? Why don't you take a look in the mirror and see what you look like? Manling just escaped from that unhealthy marriage. As her friend, is there anything wrong with me giving her a scarf to comfort her? Mutual benefit and support, unity, and love. Even if you're not well educated, you should know these things. Somehow, I suddenly remembered the last time I went to the supply and marketing cooperative, wanting to buy something to moisturize my face. In the winter, the cold and dry weather makes my face hurt badly when the wind blows, badly, but with money being tight and considering my family's situation, I just couldn't bring myself to buy it. In the end, I came back empty-handed. I remembered passing by a store and spotting a beautiful sapphire blue coat. The sales clerk brought it out for me to try on, complimenting me on how good it looked the entire time. I was thrilled looking at myself in the mirror, tugging at Guching who was standing beside me, but he kept his chin stiff, staring out the window the whole time, never even glancing at me. The sales clerk's smile froze on her face. Finally, I blushed, thanked her, and took off the coat to return it. On the way home, Guching finally spoke up. Why spend money on clothes? Royal blue doesn't suit you, and that style only looks good on someone with a slender figure. Only someone with a slender figure can pull it off. I guess he was talking about Luo Meniying, the slender one. In his heart, I've always been inferior to that woman, even though I've borne him children and managed the household for him. I still can't measure up to her in his heart. I wiped away my tears, awkwardly scrubbing my face. Today is my daughter's birthday. Malted milk is something Tian has always wanted to eat. I bought it with my own money. I bought it for her with my salary, but you, as a father, gave away something meant for your child to someone else. He reacted like a cat with its tail stepped on. There's so much going on at school. How would I know unless you tell me? Just give the kid what they want if they're asking for it. Just buy it then. I threw up my hands. I'm broke. Why don't you pay for it? As he turned away, I pressed on. We can barely afford food at home, yet you've got spare cash to buy scarves for some woman outside. These don't come cheap, do they? I know you've never thought much of me. Now that your one who got away is divorced, you've got another shot. I don't want to hold you back either. Let's call it quits. We're getting divorced. He turned away irritably, slamming the bedroom door. Chin no gue, who else would even want you? Stop this nonsense. I'll let it slide this time, just this once. I rushed to my neighbor's house late at night to borrow their landline, dialing the familiar number from memory. Little brother, didn't you say your restaurant still needed a cook? I'll take the job. 10 days, good, that's enough. Enough time to end all this. The next morning, I dragged myself to the cafeteria with puffy eyes to work. At lunchtime, a group of girls from the cultural troupe came in together. My eyes immediately landed on that statuesque woman. She reached up, tucking a loose strand behind her ear with slender fingers, revealing her pale, flawless complexion, with her chin lifted proudly. The delicate scarf around her slender neck was unmistakably the one Guching and I had fought over the night before. The intricate floral pattern looked stunning on her, a style I could never hope to pull off in this lifetime. She gave me an indifferent glance while absent-mindedly smoothing her scarf. A woman nearby hurried over with her lunch tray, eyes shining with admiration. Manning, where'd you get that gorgeous scarf? It's absolutely beautiful. I'll have my better half get me one of these someday. Luo Manning flashed a smile and said casually, it was a gift. You can't find this style in Anqing, it's exclusive to Shanghai. My friend spent 30 yuan to get it. Clang, my serving ladle fell into the metal container with a jarring sound that made dozens of heads turn in my direction. I laughed bitterly to myself. 30 yuan, that was Gucheng's entire monthly salary, barely enough to cover our family's expenses for a month. Continuation. He couldn't bring himself to buy his wife a new dress or even face cream, let alone afford another tin of malted milk powder for his daughter. Continuation. How extravagant to spend a whole month's salary just to buy a woman a silk scarf. So he's blown his entire paycheck for months on this woman. $30. The woman gasped, her jaw dropping in shock. Her outburst drew curious stares from everyone around remaining. A faint smile played on Lumening's lips, as if savoring this feeling. Good heavens, 30 yuan for just this measly scarf. That's way too extravagant, I could never afford it. You're so lucky. Which admirer sent this one? Does he even make your top 10? No offense, but for someone who's been divorced, you still act like a naive little girl. Luo Manning's smile vanished instantly at those words. She shot the woman a glare before walking away. The woman pursed her lips and muttered to those around her, look at her putting on airs. Still managing to sweet-talk men into spending fortunes on a measly silk scarf. Ugh, talk about putting lipstick on a corpse, so desperate to look pretty. After getting my meal, I sat on a small stool in the back kitchen washing dishes when Aunt Wong hurried in and closed the door behind her. Seeing her troubled expression and hesitation, I couldn't help asking, "What's wrong, Aunt Wong? Just say what's on your mind." "No Gue, I don't know if my eyes deceived me, but when I went grocery shopping, I saw Guchin giving something to some woman, canned fruit, and I kept working with my hands, and what? He was even feeding that woman." Watching Aunt Wong blush while wringing her hands, I inexplicably sighed. "No Gue, I really shouldn't be saying this. I'm afraid it might cause tension between you two." Tension? What tension could possibly remain between us at this point? But we're so close. I can't bear to see you kept in the dark like this. My heart aches for little Tion too. Seeing how frugally you two have to live just breaks my heart. That man's always splurging outside. Canned fruit is such a luxury these days. I wiped my wet hands on the apron, the cracked skin stinging faintly. "Thank you, Auntie, I understand now." Truth be told, every marriage has its bumps, but life goes on, especially when you two still have a daughter. We women don't have much choice. Why don't you cook him a nice dinner tonight and talk things over with Guching? He's still young, probably just dazzled by some floozy out there. Men, they're all like that. I shook my head. "Aunt Wong, I know you mean well, but there's no need to persuade me. I've made up my mind." After work, I hurried home. The moment I stepped in, I saw Guching, who'd never set foot in a kitchen, chasing a chicken around the yard, feathers sticking to his hair, his handsome face looking utterly disheveled. Spotting me, he beamed with joy. "No Gue, you're finally back. Look, I got us a chicken. Never thought catching it would be this hard." I boiled some water. "Could you stew the chicken? I'm going to take a shower first." My daughter clapped her little hands excitedly. "Mommy, we're having meat tonight." I gave a wry smile. Never thought Guching would actually bring home a chicken. We hadn't seen meat in this house for ages. As I was chopping the pieces, Aunt Wong's words from this afternoon inexplicably came to mind. Life goes on no matter what, and it doesn't really matter who I'm with. I could just walk away, but the child, thinking of my daughter, sent sharp pangs through my heart, leaving me utterly torn. The rich aroma of chicken soup filled the room as I carried my daughter to the inner chamber to change her clothes, thinking about making chicken soup rice for my child later. My hands moved faster unconsciously. Back in the kitchen with a bowl ready to serve the soup, lifting the lid gave me quite a shock. All that remained were 2 chicken wings and a pitifully small amount of soup barely covering the pot's bottom. How could a whole chicken just disappear? Panic set in as I thought someone must have stolen it, but the courtyard gate was securely locked. How was this possible? I glanced outside only to find the tightly shut door had somehow opened, and then noticed one of our ceramic bowls was missing. Everything clicked instantly. I grabbed my jacket and stormed out. In no time I'd reached Luo Mannen's place, the aroma of chicken soup greeting me before I even stepped inside. "Aching, thank you. Never thought you'd be the one standing by me now." "Manning, what nonsense are you talking? We grew up together. It's only natural I'd look out for you." Her voice trembled slightly. "But you're married now. You shouldn't stay here. It's not proper. If people found out, just go, please. You're in no state to be alone right now. Let me stay a while. That house, I just can't bear. I want to go back." Through the window, I watched the two sitting at the table with a steaming pot of chicken soup, 2 side dishes, and an opened can of fruit cocktail. Those side dishes clearly came from a state-run restaurant. Their presentation was quite elegant. The only time I've had something like this was at someone else's wedding. Not even during New Year's celebrations have my child and I enjoyed such a feast. It felt like having icy water poured over me. My earlier hopes and internal struggle now seemed utterly ridiculous. I actually thought he'd had a change of heart when he brought home chicken for me and our daughter, but the moment I finished stewing it, he took it straight to Luo Manning, didn't even save a chicken drumstick for the child. What am I still holding on to with a man like this? Claims he can't afford malted milk for us, yet splurges on 2 dishes at the state-run restaurant. Are we really going to let him two-time indefinitely? Luo Manning's gaunt back slumped as she buried her face in her hands, her body trembling with quiet sobs. "Aching," she whispered, "I regret this so much. Did we really miss our chance? If only I had married you back then. You've been so good to me. I must have been blind not to see it before." She rested her head against Gu Cheng's shoulder, her body melting into him like liquid silk. "Why are you sneaking around outside without saying a word? Such country bumpkin manners can't be changed even if you try." Luo Manning came to her senses and smiled at me as if we were the closest of sisters. She opened the door and approached me. "Nyo, Sister Nyo, Is that you? Come in and sit down. It's freezing outside. Without a trace of awkwardness, she reached for my hand, then immediately withdrew hers upon seeing my swollen fingers resembling tiny radishes. The shock and disgust in her eyes were unmistakable. I followed her inside, where the sudden warmth sent a jolt through me, making my fingers tingle with renewed pain. Luo Manning pulled up a chair across the table, and the two sat down as if they were the only people in the world, as if I were the outsider here. Let's eat together. Ah Cheng, really? Luo Manning nudged Gu Cheng with her shoulder, her face flushed with girlish shyness. How could you not bring Sister Nyo along? Sister Nyo, try this. Ah Cheng specially ordered these dishes from the state-run restaurant. They're quite tasty, though the chicken soup is way too salty for my liking. I'm not used to it. Gu Cheng, who'd been sitting quietly, couldn't help chuckling at her remark. He picked up a ladle to serve her some soup. Drink some anyway. Even if you don't like it, look how thin you are. Your face is so pale. This chicken soup will do you good, I said with biting sarcasm, though I'm just a country bumpkin who hasn't seen as much of the world as you two, but in all my years, I've never met anyone as shameless and thick-skinned as this. The way you two are practically glued together right in front of me. Guess my timing's terrible. I should have brought gifts to congratulate you both on finally getting what you wanted. Gu Cheng slammed his chopsticks down angrily, splashing chicken soup across my face. Chen Nyo Gue, what nonsense are you spouting? My relationship with Manning is completely innocent, absolutely pure. Sister Nyo, you can eat carelessly but don't speak recklessly. If you keep spreading such baseless rumors, I won't be able to show my face in this world anymore. Luo Manning sat nearby with reddened eyes, looking as if she might burst into tears any second, a far cry from the aloof demeanor she'd shown during the day, a cold and haughty demeanor. Gu Cheng pulled Luo Manning into a comforting embrace, gently patting her back. Get your ass home right now, we'll talk about this later. Did I say anything wrong? A cheap entertainer and a hypocritical scholar, preaching morality while committing such filthy deeds. The matter, shut your mouth. Gu Cheng's chest heaved violently with rage. I took a sip with the soup spoon. The broth was excellent, not salty at all, though some might find this delicacy too refined for their taste. Picking up chopsticks again, I sampled a couple bites. The flavors were on point. I grabbed the plastic bag from the side, dumped both dishes from the table into it, fished out 2 chicken legs from the soup, and was ready to go. Leave. Gu Cheng stepped in front of me, yanking my collar and slamming me against the wall. Are you possessed by a starving ghost or something? Manning just left. After losing both her marriage and child, she's terribly frail. I'm getting her a chicken to help rebuild her strength. Are you really that greedy? How could I have been so blind to marry someone as vulgar as you? Standing there taking up more space than 2 people combined, yet lacking basic decency. Stealing food from a patient. My hand throbbed unbearably from the violent impact. Old wounds seemed to reopen, blood streaming freely from the fresh gashes. Luo Manning stepped forward to mediate. Ah Cheng, I'm fine, let Sister Nyo take the food. Skipping one meal won't kill me. Gu Cheng's face twisted with rage. She could survive a month without food with all that fat, but you'd topple over in a breeze. Literally. Whatever, let her eat, the food's ruined anyway. And looking at her killed my appetite. Gu Cheng picked up the coat nearby and draped it over Luo Manning. Come on, I'll take you out to eat. Luo Manning looked up in pleasant surprise, her eyes sparkling as she followed closely beside Gu Cheng. When I got home and laid out the dishes, my daughter's face lit up with joy seeing all the delicious food I'd brought back. After wiping her hands, I served her some food, but she didn't touch her chopsticks. Why aren't you eating? Dad's not back yet. I'm waiting to eat with him. My nose stung as I fought back tears. Be a good girl, sweetie. Dad can't make it home for dinner today. Let's eat without him. Shouldn't we save some for Dad? My heart ached seeing my daughter desperately wanting to eat yet swallowing her saliva while waiting for her father. No need, he's already eaten out. Sweetie, hurry and eat this drumstick before it gets cold. That evening, I was carefully folding clothes and stuffing them into the bag. My daughter sat on the bed watching me as I carefully began. Sweetie, if Mommy and Daddy decide to live apart, who would you? I want Mommy, she said earnestly, locking eyes with me. Sweetie wants to stay with Mommy. Don't you want Daddy? Daddy's mean. He always makes Mommy cry. I don't like Daddy anymore, she murmured, lowering her head sadly. Just as I was about to speak, the door suddenly swung open revealing Gu Cheng humming cheerfully, clearly in high spirits. Noticing me packing clothes, he sneered, "What's this? Packing up to run back to Mommy? Figures." After pulling such a stunt, anyone with shame would want to disappear for a while. Watching his shameless act made me physically ill. What on earth had I ever seen in such a man? that face is the only decent thing about them, absolutely worthless otherwise. Without a word, I pulled some papers from the nearby desk and had him sign them, sitting in his chair. He took the papers and examined them carefully. What's this? Some school documents and benefit forms that require your signature. All the papers above are normal documents, only the bottom one is a divorce agreement. Gucheng flipped through them casually, looking at me with a smirk. You really should learn to read. An illiterate woman who can't even sign her own name needs my help, and you think you're capable of divorcing me? How would you even survive without me? He's always looked down on me like this, acting as if I'm illiterate in his eyes. But if he'd bothered to look closely, he'd have seen my signature at the bottom of that page. Gucheng scribbled his signature hastily before heading off to shower. Early next morning, I bid farewell to everyone at the canteen and stopped by the co-op on my way back to grab some snacks. As I passed by Manning Luo's house, I heard the sound of a man yelling and a woman crying inside. Curious, I walked in and peered through the window, only to see Manning Luo with disheveled hair lying on the ground, her pale face streaked with tears. A man who looked to be in his late 30s viciously kicked her, shouting, "Divorce me, and you ran to this godforsaken place. Did you really think I wouldn't find you? You wouldn't find me. You really are quite the social butterfly, always having some young guy to support you wherever you go. How despicable." Romaining. Don't even mention losing a child for me. I don't even know if the baby in your belly is mine. I only noticed Gucheng now. He was standing in the corner, almost invisible if you didn't look closely. He, who always valued remaining more than anything, was actually hiding in the corner at this moment, not going to protect the one he cherished so much. Woman, I watched the scene, feeling an indescribable mix of emotions. Gucheng, Acheng, take me away quickly. He's a madman, he's insane. He'll kill me. Luo Meniying struggled fiercely, crawling towards Gucheng. Gucheng remained utterly indifferent, even attempting to leave, only to find his path blocked by the man. It seemed deliberate, like he was being prevented from exiting. Who are you calling insane, you worthless slut, that desperate for men? Take a good look at this pretty boy. You think he's got the guts to step up, still believe he can protect you? He's nothing but a coward. The man dragged her backward by the ankles. My sharp eyes instantly caught the pool of blood spreading beneath Romaining. It's likely that the miscarriage hasn't fully healed yet, and now it's been exacerbated by the violent kicks. If this continues, someone is bound to get killed. I hesitate, as it was Romaining who caused all that has happened to me, but without her, could Gucheng really settle down and live a good life with me? No way. Someone as selfish as him has always only loved himself. I made up my mind and kicked the door open with a single forceful kick. The old, dilapidated wooden door instantly collapsed, landing on the man's back. He winced and glared at me. Who are you? I advise you not to meddle in other people's business. Gucheng looked at me in disbelief, while Luo Meniying watched me approach with a complex expression. I shouted at Gucheng, "Why aren't you taking her to the hospital? Do you want to watch her die in front of you?" Gucheng seemed to snap out of a daze and rushed out, carrying Luo Meniying. "You idiot, I've never seen anyone as stupid as you. You're even worse than Roman Ning, actually wanting to save your husband's mistress. Truly a sight to behold." I stepped on his fingers as I walked away. I've already called the police. Gucheng didn't come back all night. He must have a lot to deal with right now. Early in the morning, I packed up all the valuables I could carry from home, held the child, and left. Who knew that as soon as I arrived at the station, I saw a tall figure waving at me. I walked up, and upon recognizing the person, I exclaimed in surprise, "Zhou Yang, why are you here? Didn't we agree that I would come to Beijing to find you?" The man in front of me shyly scratched his head and grinned. "Sis, I just didn't want you to have trouble traveling with Tian Tian. Anyway, dinner, the shop's being watched, so I figured I'd swing by to give you a ride." I chuckled helplessly, feeling warmth and gratitude well up inside me. Without him here, managing both the kids and all these belongings alone would have been downright difficult. Watching him carry my luggage toward the station entrance, I followed close behind as we entered together. He took care of all the eating and drinking on the way, and the dry rations I brought didn't come in handy at all. It took us 2 full days and nights to get there. As we stepped out of the station, we looked at the houses, streets, and the fashionable outfits of the people on the road. It felt like we had entered another world. I looked down at my own clothes and sure enough, I looked like a country bumpkin. Tian Tian excitedly looked around in all directions, exclaiming, "This place is so beautiful, Mom, I love it here so much." I smiled at her words, determined in my heart, since my child loves it here, I must make this place my home. A small car suddenly stopped right in front of me. something I rarely saw in city, looking so shiny and new. To my surprise, Zhou Yang swung the car door open and waved at me. "Hop in, sis." My eyes widened. "This is your car? Damn, little bro, you've really made it, driving such a sweet ride now." Zhou Yang gave a modest smile while helping me settle Tian in the back seat. "All thanks to you. If you hadn't saved me back then, would I ever have this kind of life?" I got into the car, my hands nervously unsure where to place them, looking around left and right, but when I heard him say that, I suddenly relaxed and laughed as well. "That's quite a statement. So you're destined for wealth and fortune. It was just a small favor I did back then, you don't need to keep it in mind." Before I married Guqing, I once went to cut pigweed, and on my way back, I unexpectedly found a person lying by the roadside. I wasn't sure if he was alive or dead, but I mustered the courage to approach and felt his breath. I carried him back since he was still breathing. Later, I found out he had been an orphan since childhood, always struggling outside. He got cheated in business and ended up here. He had been starving for a long time and was injured, so he stayed at my place to recover. Sometimes, when he felt better, he would help me with work. He fixed all the leaks in the roof at my house. Those days were the happiest I had before getting married. The day before I married Guqing, Zhou Yang walked into my room. It was his first time ever stepping foot in my bedroom. Seeing my puzzled look, he approached and handed me a box. When I opened it, there lay a pair of golden earrings. I quickly closed it and tried returning the box, but he grasped my hand with inexplicable sorrow in his eyes. "Keep them, sis. It's the wedding gift I gave you. No matter where you are, always remember you have me, your younger brother. If he ever treats you badly, you must tell me, and I'll take care of him. Deal with him." I smiled and agreed, only to later find out that he left that very night, saying he was going out to make a living. Every year during the holidays, he would send gifts to me and my parents. Sometimes, Guqing would say with a hint of jealousy, "Your brother really treats you well." He treats you pretty well. In the past 2 years, he has always written to me about his recent situation and has even invited me to join him countless times. I always decline because, apart from being good at cooking, I don't have any other special skills. There are plenty of great cooks out there. How could I ever become a chef at a big restaurant? But that day, Zhou Yang told me over the phone, "Sis, you're great, you just don't know it yourself. The food you make is the best I've ever had." Thinking of this, I smiled warmly at the person in front of me. His features had matured, adding a few hard edges to his once youthful face. "You've got a successful career now, but haven't found me a sister-in-law yet." "I'm not in a hurry." Zhou Yang's eyes were fixed on the window, his voice muffled. I shook my head. "You rascal." I settled down here. The restaurant has a good location, 3 floors, and a small storage room on the first floor. Zhou Yang cleaned it up for Tian and me to stay in. Everything we needed for clothing and daily use was provided, and there were even many beautiful items I hadn't seen before. Worn coat. "I'm so grateful I'm at a loss for words." He set down my luggage, patted my shoulder, and said, "Sis, just settle in here. You're going to have a great life." What surprised me was that the people here have similar tastes to those back home. In the past, when I cooked in the cafeteria, everyone praised my cooking skills. I never expected that I would end up cooking in the kitchen of a large restaurant. During that time, my mom called me countless times, asking if there was really no chance. She said Guqing was searching for me all over the world, completely lost and disoriented, not even attending classes. I casually changed the subject, asking about her and her father's health. At first, the kitchen staff looked down on me because I came from a small place. They never invited me to taste new dishes during discussions, and Zhou Yang didn't say anything about it, just took me to the kitchen and said he wanted to eat my cooking. Before I knew it, my dishes were brought out and placed alongside the head chef's. The unaware staff nearby all praised my dishes. They were delicious. That's how I secured my footing in this restaurant. It only took me 2 years to go from a helper to an assistant, then a cook, and eventually the head chef. Sweetie and I moved out long ago, and now we have enough money to buy a small house. Zhou Yan has arranged for Sweetie to attend a kindergarten in the city, so I don't have to worry about, on this day. I was sitting at the table, contemplating whether to find time to go back, but I was concerned about the shop being too busy. I mentioned it to Zhou Yang, but he hasn't responded to me yet, so lost in thought that I didn't notice someone sitting next to me. "Sister, I have an idea I'd like to discuss with you. You've been here for 2 years and made some money. I was wondering if you'd be interested in becoming a shareholder in our shop." My hand paused, holding the cup. Me becoming a shareholder? I was stunned upon receiving a positive answer. Zhou Yang poured me some tea and raised an eyebrow. "If you want to invest, you'll need to put in 10,000 yuan first, and sign a 10-year contract with me. I felt like a huge pie had fallen from the sky onto my head, completely missing the cunning glint in his eyes, and could only nod, and just like that, I became both the head chef and a shareholder of this happy restaurant. Even now, it feels like a dream. 2 days later, I took Tian home by train, and Zhou Yang tagged along happily. He mentioned that he hadn't been back in many years, which was fine. As soon as we got off the train, I took Tian and Zhou Yang to a state-run restaurant to pack some dishes. Before we even got home, Tian insisted on going to the convenience store to buy some snacks, so I had no choice but to take her there. Dad, I paused mid-payment and turned around. Who else could it be but Guqing standing not far away? He no longer exuded the confidence he once had, and his previously neat hair was now messy. His unshaven beard was also growing wild. He looks like he's aged over a decade. Guqing stared at Tian in shock, then turned to look at me in disbelief. Wife, is it really you? He brightened up and ran towards me, trying to grab my hand but I dodged. I gave a faint smile. Just call me by my name, we've been nothing to each other for a long time. No, I never agreed to the divorce, but your name is on it. I had to remind him. You tricked me into signing it back then. I had no idea what I was signing, or I would never have agreed to divorce you. Come back. Please, I really can't live without you, Guqing begged me humbly. I silently looked at him, wondering if he couldn't live without me, or if he truly couldn't live without a servant to take care of him. Zhou Yang stood beside me, visibly impatient, and I softly tried to calm him down. Guqing's gaze fell on Zhou Yang, and his face instantly changed. Pointing at him angrily, he demanded, who is he? Is it because of him that you insisted on leaving back then, me getting a divorce? You're accusing me of being with Romaining, but it turns out you've already found your next partner. His voice was loud, and the uncles and aunts who recognized me began to whisper among themselves. Irritated, I turned away, not wanting to continue arguing with such a scoundrel. He followed me all the way home. My dad saw Guqing following me and thought I had changed my mind. This is good too, you being a woman out there. Dad, I interrupted coldly. I have no relationship with Guqing at all. My mom looked embarrassed, and later I found out that during the 2 years I was gone, Guqing had changed and was searching for me all over the world. He, who had never cared about my parents before, started helping out a lot around our house after that. When someone tried to set him up on a date, he politely declined, saying he wanted to wait for me to return. Guqing has indeed realized his mistake, and he hasn't been with that woman. Has he not been with that woman, or did she dump him after realizing he was selfish, cold-hearted, and unfaithful? I impatiently said. If they had been together back then, this wouldn't have happened today. Guqing has always been a self-serving person. My mother was about to persuade me again, but I picked up my luggage and said, Mom, if you say anything more, I'm leaving. All right, dear, you should also say less. I think Niu Gui is doing quite well like this. Zhou Yang sat next to me, his face dark, and I had no idea what was wrong. He wouldn't even eat. My mom served him a bowl of soup. Yang, at your age, it's time to settle down. Tell me, what kind of girl do you like? Let me know, and I'll help you find someone. Introduce. Zhou Yang took the soup, his expression softening. Mom, there's someone in my heart, but she hasn't accepted me yet. My mom's face lit up with joy. This is great. Take your time. Even an iron rod can be ground into a needle. Suddenly, it started raining outside. Guqing stood there by the gate, looking through the fence. I calmly ate under his gaze. He deserved it. After dinner, Guqing still stood there like a stone statue. He is, after all, Tiantian's father. I sighed and followed him to a restaurant outside. Zhou Yang wanted to come along too, but I stopped him. Niu Gui, you've changed a lot over the past 2 years, Guqing said seriously, his eyes reflecting admiration, joy, and regret. The outfit I'm wearing is the navy blue jacket I didn't buy back then. Now that I've lost weight, my originally fine features are more pronounced. My skin has also turned white. The villagers today all said I'd become so beautiful they didn't recognize me. While eating inside, I could hear my neighbor cursing. They picked sesame seeds while losing the watermelon. Now the other person has become a wealthy entrepreneur in the big city. And they still have the nerve to show up. I've never seen such shamelessness. In the city as a boss, how dare they show their face here? I've never seen such shamelessness. You've changed a lot too, I said seriously after taking a sip of tea. Guqing's eyes reddened slightly. We still have our daughter, no matter what. She can't grow up without a father. It's been so long since I came back, and the gossips have told me how miserable Guqing's life has been since I left. He lost his job and started drinking heavily every day. Drunk, he would go crazy searching for me on the streets, mistaking others for me several times. Because of this, he's been. How many times have we gone out for tea? Tian is doing well now. If you truly care, clean yourself up and I'll welcome you to see the child. He grabbed my hand, deep eyes brimming with tears. Nothing ever happened between me and Romaining. It was my fault before. I hurt your heart, I know that, but I will change. I really will. Give me another chance, and I promise to be a good husband and a good father. I shook my head. It ended between us 2 years ago. Why, weren't you always the one who loved me the most? I looked down at the tea in front of me. Love has its limits, and too many disappointments can kill it. Hearing this, his face turned pale, as if his soul had left his body. No, it can't be. On our wedding day, we pledged to each other in front of Chairman Mao's portrait. We made promises to be together forever, so why has everything changed now? You did this to yourself. I was about to get up and leave, but he just wouldn't let go of me. Zhou Yang suddenly appeared out of nowhere and punched Guqing in the face. The two immediately started fighting, and I quickly rushed over to pull them apart. Don't you even have urine to look at yourself with? Please, take a good look, Zhou Yang said through clenched teeth, his fists tightly gripped. As I bandaged him, I couldn't help but complain. Why are you still so impulsive at your age? He clung to my waist like a little kitten, murmuring, Sister, I like you, I really like you, and I don't want to just be your brother anymore. Hearing this, my heart raced, a tingling sensation surged through me, and I blushed. Hurriedly pushing him away and running out of the room. The next morning, I took Tian out to buy things, but suddenly a car rushed out and hit someone. I was so scared that I quickly covered Tian's eyes so she wouldn't see. As I was debating whether to help take the person to the hospital, I saw them wobble to their feet, their lips curving into a smile as they saw me, cradling their injured hand. Hand me the cake, untouched. Niu Gue. Didn't you always want to eat the cake from this place on your birthday? I'm sorry, I never truly considered your feelings before. That was wrong of me. Now that I bought you a cake, would you still like to eat it? Guqing looked at me cautiously, completely disregarding the injuries on his body. I wiped the tears from the corner of my eye and looked at Zhou Yang, who was standing to the side. Thank you, but I already have a cake. Guqing followed the direction of my gaze. His eyes darkening, he gave a bitter smile and limped away. Later, the restaurant's business became increasingly prosperous, and Happy Restaurant opened several branches. I stopped being a chef and passed on my secrets. I started living a life where I would wake up and count money every day. One day, as I was checking the accounts in the store, an unexpected person suddenly appeared. Romaining awkwardly rubbed his hands and looked at me. Sister Gue. I heard from people in city that you become a big boss. I was wondering if there's any. You can introduce me to some work. I just want to make a living. I poured her a cup of tea, and only then did I learn that after I left, she didn't stay with Guqing because she realized these men are utterly unreliable. Although she was rushed to the hospital in time that day, the damage was severe, and she had to undergo a hysterectomy. Her abusive ex-husband ended up in jail. This incident caused quite a stir in city. She was dismissed from the cultural troupe and injured her ankle, rendering her unable to dance anymore. Now she just does odd jobs to get by. I looked at the woman in front of me with graying hair, who was no longer the beautiful and proud woman I had first met. In the end, I gave her an address. I told her to work as a clerk at a shop owned by an old friend. It's an easy job. All she has to do is handle the accounting. You're still so kind and soft-hearted. Zhou Yang draped a coat over me and pulled me up to get ready to pick up Tian. I smiled gently, looking at the man who was now my husband. Because I have you. That's the end of today's story. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe. If you have any suggestions, feel free to leave a comment below. See you in the next video.